It's been so fun to do, and coming up in the next few weeks, December into January, we're going to have guests coming on as well that are going to be topic experts in real estate, property management, student housing, photography, everything you want to know to run an excellent property management business. So yeah, what's up, guys? How are you? Mo or Maria will be in the chat moderating, so make sure you ask them questions, and I'll be sure to get to you at the very, very end. So make sure you stick around. This will be anywhere from probably like, I want to say 30, like 35 to like 50 minutes, somewhere in between there, just so you know how long this is usually. But welcome if this is your first time. I do these pretty often, and let's just go ahead and get started. So today's webinar is going to be on how to lease like a pro perty manager. I know, but yes, how to lease like a property manager and why it's important. So the reason I'm making this is because as investment professionals, a lot of the time, and what I've seen, at least working in the industry, is people invest their money into properties and do so not really knowing how to lease or sell apartments. And it's much different than selling another product, for example, or just investing your money passively and then expecting it to work for you, and you don't really do anything. So the whole point is, let me go to the next slide here. Mastering sales. This is part one. All right. Why are we mastering sales? Like I said earlier, pero why? Because real estate is not as passive as other investments. There are people and investors who have just never worked. Whoa, that came out real weird. There are people and investors who have never, they're venture capitalists, if you will. They invest money and don't necessarily know how to sell an apartment. So if everybody disappeared, you would still have a business to run and some return to gain on your investment, which is the apartment community or the property that you've chosen to manage. So how do we master sales? So let's get into it. Here are like kind of the basics that you need to master apartment sales or leasing, if you will. Trustworthiness, because everybody wants to feel that, sorry, there's some background noise. Everybody wants to feel that they can trust the person that they're buying from, or spending a lot of money to get product from them. In this case, the apartment or the single family home, whatever you manage. Oh, and this one's kind of my favorite. I actually got this from a psychology professor. Compassionate curiosity. And this has helped me so freaking much in my property management career. Is for one, the word compassion, it inspires patience and curiosity. You want to get to know more. So that's how I've conducted myself as a property manager, and to this day as a webinar host and content creator. Compassionate curiosity, get to know what they're looking for and be sincere about it. They have concerns that they're looking to get rid of by moving to a new apartment or a new home. And this is where you come in. You are focused on solutions. What solutions can you offer this person? Because when we sell products, we're offering solutions. So being solution oriented while having compassionate curiosity and being a trustworthy person opens you up to being a fantastic salesperson. Which brings me to my next point of being a fantastic salesperson. Know when to shut up. Hey, David. It's okay. The what? Wireless mic, you're not using it, right? I'm not using it. Check in the first drawer on the right, to your right, behind you. Mm-hmm. Yep, that bag, that little bag. Okay, cool. Yep.
Be as you are.
Sorry, guys. My boss just came in looking for something. Live TV, what can you say? So get back to my slide. Okay, so know when to shut up. I cannot tell you how many times I've dealt with people who sell cars, people who lease apartments who hit all the points that they're supposed to, but don't let me get 3 words in. It's, and I think you've dealt with probably the same kind of people, right? They hit all the points they're supposed to. They're salesy. They're unrelatable. These unrelatable characters that if you were to draw or paint or describe a caricature of a salesperson, it's them, right? So I think something that's helped me a lot in my career when I was back when I was a leasing agent is just shutting up for a second, because I was always told probe for this, probe for that. And I do, but I don't think it's necessary to talk all the time. Lean into silence. Silence is not awkward. Silence is just what it is. No one thinks anything of it. And soft skills. What are soft skills? It's all these qualities that you see listed wrapped into a soft and pink fluff ball, i.e. you. Presumably you. As the property manager, the leasing agent, what have you. So let's move on. Okay, so somebody walks into your property. They're obviously looking to buy a new home, or they call, or what have you, or they send a smoke signal, because why not? So first thing you want to do is kind of suss them out a little bit, right? Why are you moving? This is an important question, because you want to know if one, they're being evicted, or two, they're moving for work, or what have you, or they're moving for some other reason that you probably want to find out about anyway. So ask them what they do for work. If they can't answer immediately, that might be a red flag. Two, if you find out what industry they're in, you can find out how likely they are to move to your building. If, for example, you live in Hollywood, California, but they work in finance. So it's like, where are you going to work? Stuff like that. So it's really relevant to gauge the likelihood of them leasing, asking where they work. And do you have pets? That's an important one, right? With that, you can charge pet fees, pet rent, or pet deposit. What is the difference? A pet fee is a one-time fee upon move-in that the tenant pays to cover the cost of the pet, or potentially repairs that the pet might incur, or damage the pet might incur in the apartment, which is also just income for you, honestly. And pet deposit, which is just a deposit they pay, which is then returned to them at the end, assuming there is no damage to the apartment. And pet rent, which you can charge as a monthly fee for having the animal on the premises. Questions to avoid. If you don't know fair housing, you've made it this far, congrats. But you definitely don't want to ask questions about where people are from. Do they have children? Because that's, goes against familial status. Are you gay? And how old are you? Don't ask these questions. There's a slew of other questions that you do not want to ask. So keep that in mind. Don't just keep it in mind. Memorize the entire fair housing law. You're welcome. All right. Step 2, moving on. All right. So you've sussed them out a little bit. Let me make sure I'm still live. Hold on. Okay. We're still live. Okay. So you've sussed them out a little bit, and you've decided to move. You've pre-qualified them, essentially, right? All right, so now we're going to move on into kind of more a detailed sense of what they're looking for and what kind of apartment they need. Sorry about the background noise. You want to ask things like, what's your price range? I know a lot of people shy away from asking this because you always, as it's like a sales technique, you always ask about what they need and try to build value on what they need, or value on things that they don't necessarily like. However, a lot of people are price sensitive, especially if you're in a middle market or affordable housing. You want to ask what your price range is, because it doesn't matter how valuable something is to somebody. If they don't have the money to pay for it, they just don't. So you want to ask, what don't you like about your current apartment? Because your apartment might have the same thing and they might be a nightmare tenant, or you have the complete opposite. It could be one or the other. So this could work out for you and could not. Any features that are a must-have. And this is a good question to ask, because you can really, this is where all the objections come out. Well, I want this, but you don't have it. For example, I want a gas stove, but you guys only have electric. And then you'd be like, well, it's so much safer to use an electric stove, and personally I like it better because my food tastes better. So there's always like a flip side to everything that somebody says, and building value in that way too. And once you get past, this is kind of a short list, but once you get past more pre-qualification, getting to know what features they're looking for and kind of sussing out how they feel about the place, you can throw a little soft close on them. If you like the apartment, will you apply today? I'm just asking. All right. All right. So step 3, kind of what we just talked about, overcoming objections. You may even want to ask if they don't like something. I'm one of those people that if I don't like something, I just won't say it. If I'm looking at an apartment, I lived in too many apartments, so I'll just kind of take a mental note of it and just use that in my judgment or my like pros and cons list later when I'm picking the place finally. So you want to ask, what don't you like about it? And people also shy away from that too. What don't you like about it? Why are you making that face? Like, okay, don't say that. But like, what don't you like about the apartment? And that way you can just pull out the objections from them. A lot of people don't like to object. They think it's confrontational, and it's not. You're just trying to help them not come to terms. That sounds weird. You're trying to help them come to an informed decision and not letting them be stuck in their head all the time. Sell the benefit of whatever feature they object to. We'll use the stove again. Oh no, you have electric stoves, I want gas. Well, think of it this way. Electricity isn't as scary as having a gas line in your apartment. I'm biased, clearly, but you get the point. Ask more questions. Ask them a ton of more questions. You'll be so surprised at what you can learn by asking them a few more questions. And it doesn't even have to be that deep. Once you start getting people talking, they just kind of unravel themselves. I'm sure if you've ever wanted information from somebody, you just ask them a question that's like lightly associated with what you want to know about, and they just kind of like deck of cards, right? So ask more questions. And be forward about asking what they don't like about the apartment. Not with everybody. Not even most people. Some people will tell you exactly what they don't like. And that gives you the perfect opportunity to overcome an objection. So keep that in mind. If you got any questions, feel free to drop it. Either Mo or Maria can answer, or I will be answering live at the end. Painting a picture. So once you get past all kind of the nitty gritty of a more, let me say that again. Once you get past the nitty gritty of like the preliminary sales process, you can get light and fluffy and rainbows and unicorns, and you want to essentially give them an idea of your property's brand. I don't care if you have 4 units or 500. You, in some way, shape, or form, are different than the property next door, which is why they're spending money on you and not the property next door. So what is it? A lot of the time for a smaller property, it can be the fact that you're just a nice person because all the buildings on the street look the same. So if you are your property's brand, then milk it to its fullest. If you want to learn more about your property's brand, watch webinars 1 and 2. It's all about marketing must-haves and marketing tools and branding tools you can use, geofencing, every kind of thing you can think about marketing in multifamily. I cover it there, so definitely want to check out webinar 1 and 2. It's on our YouTube page. Just search DoorLoop. The lifestyle that your tenants live. Do you live by the beach? Do you live in a rural? Let me learn how to say that word. Area. Do you live in downtown? Everybody's moving to your place for a particular lifestyle, whether to be closer to work, closer to family, close to the beach, close to mountains, close to recreation, close to soccer practice or their knitting club. You got the picture. I always hit this thing. so kind of lean into, ask about what they do for hobbies and what's close by and why your community is perfect for them, because even if you're a small building with no amenities or it's a single family home, you're close to this, you're close to that. It's perfect for meditating because we're in the middle of nowhere and there's no noise, or there's always a way to spin it to sound to make it a benefit for the resident. Don't just paint a picture of the apartment community, but also the neighborhood. People move to a certain neighborhood for a certain reason, for many of the same reasons they moved to that particular building. However, you may not have a movie theater in the building. So describe that and why, the movie theater, for example. I use Hollywood because I used to live in Hollywood. Not like Hollywood, just like Hollywood, California. It's not that nice. Don't get too crazy. But for example, people chose to move to Hollywood because it was close to everything, like the Pantages Theater, the Griffith Observatory, and there's a certain subset of people who like museums and movie theaters. So definitely brag about the neighborhood as well. And if you're in the middle of nowhere, one of my favorite things to talk about is how, I like to go for walks. So if you live in the middle of nowhere, oh yes, you can walk for days. It's great. And just paint a big picture for them of where they fit in the building and the lifestyle the neighborhood creates for them, even if they're just commuters and they're not lounging around all day like me. Totally kidding. Paint the picture for them when they get home from their job. Why is it home to you? Why would you consider it home? And describe that to them in their language. Not like their literal language. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, I'm spiraling. Cool. All right. Mastering sales. We're still on this. Step 5, pre-close and close. This is so great. I do love a good pre-close and close, because why? We're in business to make money. Cool. So do you see your, like a soft close or a pre-close would be, do you see yourself living in a place like this? That's where you can gauge their interest in actually applying before you actually go in for the close. Why am I doing this? I'm punching them. Do you see yourself living in a place like this? Yes, no, why not? This apartment will rent fast. Wouldn't want you to lose it. Gauge their response. Depending on that, then you can go in for a close or ask more questions about why they're hesitating. All your needs are met. Let's go ahead and apply. Why not? What's going to hurt? So basically, to sum up all these steps into 5 basic steps is discovery, probing questions, overcoming objections, painting a picture for them, pre-close, and secure that close. This is kind of the basics of sales. Not just sales, but leasing apartments. I worked for really large companies that would secret shop me as a leasing agent. And so I had to memorize just literally 3 pages of points I had to hit. And this is what I summarized it to be. So as long as you get in the habit of doing these 5 steps, it'll be like second nature to you to leasing an apartment or leasing the home that you want. Whenever I did leasing in downtown Los Angeles, I would always say to my coworker when I had a tour come in, because we'd sit in the leasing office, obviously. They'd be out in the lobby where they couldn't see us. And I would be like, blue scud, do we can too? Because it felt like being shot out of a cannon, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, this is basically what they taught us to do. if you can memorize this and it just becomes habit, like even when I'm not thinking about it, this is just what I do when I was leasing apartments without even looking at my page. As a matter of fact, the close, not the close, the pre-close and close. So we had to have a score of 100 to pass the secret shop. If you didn't ask, would you like to lease today? You instantly failed. You lost 25 points, which is a 75, and that is a failing score. So, if anything, just always ask them, would you like to lease today? Because you might be surprised at the answer. Trust me. Feature versus benefit selling. Oh, love this little tidbit of information. All right, so what is a feature? Anything permanently affixed to the interior of an apartment. A benefit is a perceived positive outcome of having said feature, attributes that set it apart from the competition. Why is this important? Everything in your apartment is a feature, even if it's old. Every feature has a positive aspect to it. Here's some examples. A gas stove, a window AC, wood floors, older kitchen, newer windows. And these same features, below I listed their benefits. A gas stove cooks faster. That's a fact. Sidebar, even though I'm dead scared of gas stoves, I don't think that's like really a thing in Florida. Anyway, when I moved to California, all I had was gas stoves. I was petrified and I only used the microwave. But I learned to use a gas stove. It was pretty bomb. Anyway, window AC. It makes the room cooler faster. It may not make the whole apartment cool, like very cool, but that room it's in, it's an ice box, which is a great thing, especially if you're sleeping in that room. Wood floors, easy to clean, and really you can say that about any hard surface flooring. Older kitchen, classic style, not for nothing. And I've said this in one of my YouTube videos on DoorLoop's channel. I don't care about a newer kitchen or a newer bathroom. I just want everything to work and have all the appliances that I need. I don't care how new it is. I think that's a little antiquated that we need to update kitchens and bathrooms. Not really. I don't think millennials care that much, to be honest. And newer windows, which could equate to noise insulation. And the list goes on. Take a water break real quick. 1 sec. How are we doing there, guys? All right. All right, so on this slide, I have leasing agent 1. On the following slide, I have leasing agent 2. So this leasing agent 1 is giving all the features. Yes, Janice, this apartment has tile floors, large windows, in-unit appliances, and high-speed internet access. Would you like to lease today? Versus, this looks like a lot, but leasing agent 2 says the same thing, but differently. Hear me out. And it's not as literal. Let me go back. Okay, well, I'm just giving away all my secrets here. McDermott, hold on. Hold, please. Sorry about that. So listing benefits versus features doesn't have to be so literal either. It can be a little poetic if you want. It's not like you have to go from this apartment has tile floors, large windows, to this apartment is easy to clean, it has lots of natural sunlight, in such a literal list kind of way. You can get fancy with it. You can be like, this apartment is one of my favorites. It's open and bright and the perfect unit to work from home from. I think the floors add to the spacious feel. And the best thing is that you don't have to bring any appliances with you because they are all here with this scary gas stove. like I said earlier, you have to get in the habit of doing this. So even on a bad day when you're just not feeling it, you just fall into the sales process that just comes out naturally like second nature. Yeah, definitely get in the habit of feature selling. I don't think any of us need to know that this is a big window. We have eyes, most of us at least. Say this big window lets a lot of natural light in, and it might bring attention to someone who otherwise might be looking at some crack in the floor. So, try to lead the tour in that way too. All right, so we are on 4 types of prospects. Let me make this full screen again. Excuse me. Let me make sure we're still live. All right, there you guys are. Perfect. Sidebar, we're doing Movember here at DoorLoop, which is why I have a mustache. I usually don't have a mustache, but Movember is for men's health awareness, including suicide, mental health, testicular, and prostate cancer. So in honor of Movember, we're all growing mustaches here. So far, it's just me, but... So, prospects. Like I said in the very beginning, lean into silences. Let them talk for a little bit. Sometimes you don't have to pry to get information out of people, right? Observe their body language and do their eyes move. What I mean by do their eyes move is, how do I put this like really lightly? Do they look crazy? Like, you ever been talking to somebody, they're just like this? Yeah, like they just never break eye contact, or like they never blink, and you're just like, okay. That's part of taking the temperature for me. Is I hate hitting this thing. Is kind of the general vibe, if you will. And as a property owner, you have more leeway than a property manager that works for a giant company to kind of make these calls, whether you'd be comfortable renting to somebody or not. So, going with the 4 types of prospects, we have type 1, the analyst. If you're an analyst, put it in the chat because I need to learn more about you guys. Any analysts out there, let me know. Let us know. They're facts and figures focused. They do their research. It's those prospects with, they got the iPad notes and they're just, or on their legal pad, just writing down everything you say. They prefer to have a deeper knowledge of the unit, and they verify information. They're the ones who are going on, the city and county websites and all that good stuff. If you ever met someone like the analyst, you probably have a person in mind right now. So here are some great ways to handle the analyst type of prospect. Give figures and data. For example, tell them the cost per square foot versus the cost per square foot at a comparable property and why yours is worth it more. Give details on how fast the internet is, how electricity is measured, whether it's per unit or, by the whole building, and then divided evenly per square footage. Expect questions and prepare to give clarifications, especially on Yelp reviews. The amiable. I think I'm this one. No, I think I'm type 3. You'll see in a second. The amiable is sociable and trustworthy, good at listening, emphasis on building rapport, interested in renting at places that meet their expectations. For me, these were always the funnest tours to give because they were just like fun. But they're good at listening, which means they will listen to everything you have to say. Not necessarily, they'd be more open to being sold by you to begin with because they're already there to buy anyway. They're looking at the apartment, they're looking at the home. They want to listen to you. They want you to fill them in on things they might not know about. And they'll be pretty vocal in asking you for some clarifications as well, while still trying to build some kind of relationship with you because they, as prospects, want to know that their property manager is not a jerk. And here's some ways to handle the amiable. Apparently, I'm British because I recognize their presence in the British way. I'm not even going to try the accent. Never mind. So recognize their presence. Pause when they are talking. This is great because a lot of amiable people with this kind of type prospects personality, if you will, they don't want to interrupt you. So pause when they're talking. Don't talk over them because you might be giving information that they frankly don't care about, and you're talking over them. They don't want to talk over you. So lean into the silence because you will get more information out of people. It's what interrogators do, to be honest. Google it, YouTube it. Your time to shine when it comes to selling features. They want the fantasy, the full fantasy you're giving when you're selling the apartment. Look how your life can be when you're living in this home, in this neighborhood. Don't you just love this gas stove? Talk a little bit about what you like about the apartment. They're personable. They want to hear what you like about the apartment. And if you live on site, even better. What do you love about the building? What do you love about the neighborhood? Makes them feel more comfortable, like they already trust somebody who lives there. And get a little personal with them. I don't want to say I hate, but there's always salespeople who, again, they hit all the marks, but like they're kind of these like unrelatable characters, right? They're just these caricatures of what a salesperson is supposed to be. However, what a salesperson actually is, or a person who's leasing an apartment, is getting a little personal. This is somebody's livelihood. This is where somebody will live for at least the next year or however long the lease is. And you want to learn about their lives. With the amiable, this is how you relate to them. You sell them on the product, on the apartment, the lifestyle, and most of all, that you actually care about their well-being, and they'll be far more likely to lease the apartment from you. The expressive. Oh, this is me. Okay, I'm the expressive. They voice their opinions, share their perspective when presented with facts. Like the amiable, they also place importance on relationships, and they value the welfare of people. Are you the expressive? Are you like me? Are you the expressive? How to handle. Facts and data. Let me try that again. Facts and data help, but you need emotional intelligence. I can throw something right now. You need emotional intelligence to be a good salesperson. Share your own experiences. When I was leasing, this is something I would do a lot. I would share my own personal experiences. Even if you're not a person who's great at sharing like details about them, like you would with an amiable prospect personality type, share your experiences. I lived in an apartment like this once, and I loved it. And sidebar, real story. My favorite apartment was the smallest apartment I've ever had, by and large. No pun intended. Focus on what living here can do for them. Be solution oriented. So it's kind of like an amiable, but they're a little more fact based. Not that amiables aren't fact based. They're a little more data based than an amiable person. The driver. Oh, we've met many drivers, have we not, in this business? They're goal oriented, opinionated, commanding in nature, and want immediate answers. Just read my mind. All right. How to handle driver. Get straight to the point. Are you a driver? Do you have aspects of driverness? I like to get straight to the point. Do you? Be direct and polite. No. Thank you. Like that. Highlight how living in your apartment will help them achieve a goal. For example, I'll use Hollywood again because that's my favorite example, apparently. How living in Hollywood, you can be close to everything. We are close to acting studios, we're close to the arts and dance, and living here will help you achieve that goal. Or even living here will save you money compared to another building, because so that way you can save to buy a house like you've always wanted. Something like that. All right. So which type are you? Check yourself before you wreck yourself. What kind of salesperson are you? So basically, those 4 personality types that we talked about, can also be your salesperson personality type. I'm the expressive, so that's how I communicate best. I don't know why they call it expressive though. I feel like it's a weird word for it. It's too like broad. But anyway, which one are you? That's kind of your sales persona. Do you only cater to one kind of customer? Because if you do, you might want to branch out into catering to the three other types that we identified. And have you tried leasing an apartment? Why did I put that there? Oh yeah, why? Have you tried leasing an apartment? Like, have you practiced leasing an apartment? The more you do it, the better you get at it. Like everything else, even if you're used to being like back of house. Wow, can you tell I worked at a restaurant? Even if you're used to being, the Mac in the back, just doing the money, investing, signing checks. Try leasing an apartment. It's actually kind of fun. Hey, how are we on time? Oh, we're pretty good. Okay, cool. Word. I'll never do that again. I'm sorry. All right. Closes. The assumptive close. This actually, you know what? This is my favorite close. There's three more, but this is one of my favorites. Assume they're going to lease the apartment. Okay, so I'll do an assumptive close right now. All right, so Miss Johnson, and we're walking back to the leasing office. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, Miss Johnson, so I wouldn't want you to lose the apartment. Looks like this has everything you need. Let's just get you started on the application. And I should probably be like, yeah, or no. And then you kind of go from there. If she says no, I'll be like, what's wrong? Seems like this place is everything you need. I want to think about it some more. Okay, cool. Well, I'll send you the application online, whether you have PDF or what have you, and I'll follow up with you later. How about that? Okay. Or do you need a moment to make a decision? Here's a bottle of water. Go sit in your happy place and come back in 5 minutes. The option close. Not a big fan of this one, but this may work for you, because when it comes out of me, it just sounds awkward. But if this works for you, then please just do it. Similar to assumption, but with more specific direction. Would you like to apply online or in person? Is there a period next to online? Oh no, that's just my screen is dirty. Cool. This one's a little bit. If it floats your boat, do it. Would you like to apply online or in person? Obviously, they would have to give some indication that they're interested in the apartment first. So assumptive and the option close requires some rapport building and positive direction for you to even conclude that they want to lease the apartment. You have to be like 75% sure they want to lease today before using assumptive or option. This is the third time I hit this. The suggestion close, based off their circumstances, suggest a solution, because we're what? Solution oriented, because we're solving problems, because what? We are selling a product. What is the product? We're leasing apartments. Cool. So based off their circumstances, suggest a solution. That was the biggest tongue twister of my life. Well, it seems you've been looking for an apartment with these features for quite a while. It's here and it's ready to go. That way you give your monkey and you put it on their shoulders. And then you kind of get their wheels turning. It's here, it's ready to go. And you just kind of let them fester. Then with a suggestion, you can kind of go into like another close. If you don't hear any response, let's apply today. A kind of push in the right direction, if you will.